After months of trashing Shedeur Sanders on live TV, Mary Kay Cabot just got caught in 4K doing a complete 180. She finally admitted what Browns fans have been screaming all along. Shedeur isn't just good. He's elite, and the way she said it on air, you can hear the embarrassment in her voice.
One person that I've been vividly paying attention to is Mary Kay of the Cleveland Browns, man. She's one of the beat writers of the team, and she was one of the people that was real hard on Shedeur early on. Well, I'm here to tell you, ever since he pretty much has been named quarterback 2, she's singing a totally different tune. I mean, Mary Kay is turning into one of the biggest Shedeur fans on the damn internet. I mean, she never goes a day without saying something nice about Shedeur. Why is she doing it all of a sudden? Because she knows
exactly the power of his words, and I think he was trying not to do that. And it didn't work out that way, but I don't think he had any ill intent. I don't think he was trying to say, hey, look at me, this is all about me today.
I just think it's time for the Browns to tell him, hey, listen, media's coming in. Go find somewhere to hang out for 45 minutes, and then you can come in. Players hide on us all the time.
Go to the Johnny Manziel closet.
Yeah, right. I mean, how often is Miles ever in the locker room until Fridays when he talks? You never see Miles in the locker room when media is there. He's not the only one.
You have to understand something about Shedeur. He grew up in the spotlight. He grew up in the fishbowl. They have live streamed their whole entire lives. Yeah. They want everything.
Mary Kay Cabot spent months trashing Shedeur Sanders. She questioned his work ethic, doubted his abilities, and led the charge against him in Cleveland media. But now, she's calling him elite with uncanny touch and arguably the number one trait for a quarterback. What changed? Simple. They took away her access to practice, and she can't lie anymore. The truth is finally coming out, and Cleveland media is scrambling to save face before Shedeur takes over this franchise. But here's the real question. After all that disrespect, does Shedeur owe these people anything?
And what's crazy is that her tweet itself state Shedeur Sanders has arguably the number one trait for a quarterback: elite accuracy and uncanny touch. I believe quarterbacks can significantly improve accuracy, Josh Allen, but Shedeur Sanders is a natural in this area. So it's crazy that, she's making this post. Somebody said this is the post that gets Dillon Gabriel benched at halftime. I don't know, but
pre-snap, he didn't show up in the NFL as ready to do those things as some other people, including Dillon Gabriel, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Mary Kay Cabot, plaindealer@cleveland.com on the fan hotline. So, Mary Kay, the decision to go with Dillon Gabriel, is this anywhere near the timing that some in the building might have expected? And how confident is this team and the decision makers truly in his ability to go out there and not just perform, but win a football game?
I don't think that I don't think they wanted to do it this early at all. I think that they had hoped that Joe could hold down the fort for half the season or longer and kind of see how everything goes. So they really needed him to just play clean football, and he wasn't able to do that. And not all of it was his fault, of course. We know that. But he just wasn't able to stop turning the ball over.
We're watching one of the most blatant flip-flops in sports journalism history. And nobody's talking about how shady this whole thing really is. Mary Kay Cabot. You know her, right? Beat writer for the Cleveland Browns, one of the most prominent voices covering this team. For months, and I mean months, this woman has been absolutely relentless in her criticism of Shedeur Sanders.
I also think when we look at Dillon, Shedeur being named QB2, trading away Joe Flacco is the thing that puts ultimate pressure on. And listen, Dillon's been in pressure situations his entire career. Okay, he played at Oklahoma, he played at Oregon. He's no stranger to pressure situations, but you know that you're not that far away. Like, there's a leash. It's not like he feels like he's going to get benched this week, but Shedeur's not far away from breathing down your neck. Like, good play has to start, and it's not just going to be the fan base that's going to be on you. I'm
thrilled that Jack Conklin will be back, because you really would want Jack to be protecting your blind side over there as the right tackle. So hopefully for Dillon that will happen. Don't know, can't say for sure yet, but that would be advantageous for him. And then is Cam Robinson ready to start over there at left tackle? I would go ahead and throw him in there as long as he's up to speed enough, and he should be by Sunday. He's started a game already this season. He's played in several games this season, so he's in football shape. And I think the alternative might possibly be worse, so I would go ahead and do that.
Jack Conklin would be huge upgrade, obviously, if he's able to come back. Do you think, I just thought of this, do you think there's any chance that they know in the back of their mind, hey, Jack's probably going to be good, that's why we can make this move, rather than the tackle situation that they've had the last couple of weeks with a rookie? Or am I reading way too much into it on a Thursday?
You know what? I think that they were hopeful that could happen, but I don't think that was a...
From the moment he was drafted, she's been questioning everything about him. His work ethic? Questioned. His attitude? Questioned. His ability to lead an NFL locker room? You already know she had something to say about that, too.
Quarterback competition. They don't necessarily have the timing and chemistry down with any one of the quarterbacks that they should. Once again, there are new blocking schemes. It's just different all over again, than it was last year. So I think they looked out there and saw that Joe was trying to hold it together, that he was getting hit a lot, that they had tackle problems. I don't think a lot of people were going, oh my goodness, what is this guy doing out here? I think they could see what he was trying to do and how it just wasn't working for a lot of different reasons. And once again, a lot of those reasons are still going to be there this Sunday. It's just a matter of how Dylan can navigate them.
Is there any sort of advantage for Minnesota that they've been over there for 10 days, or is it a disadvantage that Minnesota has been over there for 10 days?
You never know in these situations. Sometimes it goes the way that you think it's going to go, and sometimes it goes the exact opposite way. Will the Browns just get over here? They're just getting here today. They're going to have to be tired today. There's no way that they won't be tired today, even if they slept on the plane.
But now, all of a sudden, she's out here tweeting that Shedeur Sanders has arguably the number one trait for a U quarterback with elite accuracy and uncanny touch. She's calling him a natural. The same guy she was dragging through the mud just weeks ago is now suddenly this generational talent she can't stop praising? What changed, Mary Kay? What suddenly opened your eyes? Let me tell you exactly what changed, because this is where it gets really interesting. The Cleveland Browns organization made a decision that completely shifted the entire narrative around Shedeur Sanders. They shut down practice access. That's right, Mary Kay, Tony Grossi, and pretty much everyone in the Cleveland media had the luxury, the absolute privilege, of watching Shedeur Sanders practice all summer long. They got to see him work. They got to see him throw. They got to see him command that huddle and run that offense. And you know what they did with that access? They lied. They went on their podcasts. They wrote their articles. They tweeted their hot takes. And they told everyone that Shedeur wasn't ready, that he wasn't good enough, that Dillon Gabriel was clearly the better option. They painted this picture of a quarterback who was struggling to grasp the system, who wasn't putting in the work, who didn't have what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. But here's the thing about lies. They only work when nobody can fact-check you. And as long as they had that exclusive access to practice, they could control the narrative. They could tell Browns fans whatever they wanted, because nobody else could see what was really happening behind those closed doors. Then the Browns shut it down. No more practice access, no more insider looks, no more exclusive content. And suddenly, Mary Kay Cabot becomes Shedeur Sanders' biggest fan on the internet. She's out here tweeting about his elite accuracy like she discovered some hidden talent nobody knew about. Like she's been supporting him all along. Are you kidding me right now? This is the same woman who was questioning whether Shedeur had the mental toughness for the NFL. The same woman who was pushing the narrative that Bailey Zappe might be a better option as QB2. The same woman who was giving credibility to Rex Ryan's ridiculous takes about Shedeur not sitting in the front row during meetings, which, by the way, was complete nonsense. But now, she can't lie anymore. That's the real story here. She physically cannot continue spreading false narratives about Shedeur Sanders because she doesn't have access to twist the story anymore. The Browns organization saw what was happening, saw how their rookie quarterback was being treated by the local media, and they said, enough is enough. They protected their investment. They protected their future. And now Mary Kay has to stand on business. She has to tell it like it is. And the truth, the actual truth that she's been hiding this whole time, is that Shedeur Sanders is absolutely like that. He's been like that. He's been like that since day one. Let's talk about that tweet for a second, because the wording is really important here. She says Shedeur has arguably the #1 trait for a quarterback. Arguably? Girl, there's no argument here. Elite accuracy isn't arguably the most important trait. It is the most important trait. And she's out here hedging her bets, even while she's trying to praise him. She can't even commit to giving him his full props because she spent so much time tearing him down, and then she throws in this line about how she believes quarterbacks can significantly improve accuracy, and mentions Josh Allen. Why is she even bringing that up? Is she trying to suggest that Shedeur needed to improve his accuracy? Because if you've watched him play, and Mary Kay, you had access to watch him practice all summer, you know that accuracy has never been his problem. He came into the league with elite ball placement. That was literally one of his calling cards coming out of Colorado. So why the backhanded compliment? Why can't she just say what everyone who's actually been paying attention already knows? That Shedeur Sanders is a natural talent with arm talent that most quarterbacks can only dream about. I'll tell you why. Because she's trying to save face. She's trying to rewrite history before it's too late. She knows that when Shedeur eventually takes over this team, and trust me, it's a when, not an if situation, people are going to go back through her tweets, her articles, her podcast appearances. They're going to see exactly what she was saying about him. And she's scrambling to create a paper trail that makes it look like she was always a believer. But we see through it. Browns fans see through it. And most importantly, Shedeur Sanders sees through it. If I'm Shedeur, I'm not forgetting this. I'm not forgetting how Mary Kay treated me when she thought she could get away with it. I'm not forgetting how Tony Grossi and 92.3, the fans spent weeks questioning everything about me while I was putting in the work, learning the system, earning the respect of my teammates, and proving that I belong. You know what I'd do? I wouldn't give them the time of day. No interviews with Mary Kay. No appearances on 92.3 The Fan. No exclusive sit-downs with any of these people who spent months disrespecting me. They had their chance to be fair, to be honest, to give credit where credit was due. Instead, they chose to push narratives, chase clicks, and feed into the drama. And now they want access. Now they want to be buddy-buddy? Now they want to act like they've been Team Shedeur all along? Nah, not happening. And you know what's beautiful about this? Shedeur doesn't need them. He's got his own platform. He's got his own brand. He's got his own way of connecting with fans. These traditional media gatekeepers don't hold the power they used to, and they're absolutely terrified about it. That's why you see this desperate pivot. That's why Mary Kay is suddenly tweeting praise. That's why 92.3 The Fan is changing their tune. They realize they backed the wrong horse, and now they're trying to get back in Shedeur's good graces before it's too late. But here's what really gets me about this whole situation. The timing. Mary Kay sends out this tweet right after Shedeur is officially named QB2. Right after the Browns make it crystal clear that he's next in line. Right after they trade away Joe Flacco, removing any veteran safety net that might delay Shedeur's ascension to the starting role. She's not praising him because she suddenly realized he's talented. She's praising him because she has to. Because the organization has made their intentions clear, and she can't afford to be on the wrong side of this story when Shedeur inevitably takes over. And let's be real about something else. Cleveland media has a terrible track record when it comes to evaluating quarterback talent. These are the same people who convinced themselves that Baker Mayfield was the problem. The same people who hyped up Deshaun Watson before everything fell apart. The same people who thought Joe Flacco was some kind of savior last season. So why should we trust their evaluation of Shedeur Sanders? Why should we believe that now, after months of criticism, they're suddenly seeing clearly? We shouldn't, because this isn't about honest evaluation. This is about self-preservation. This is about making sure they still have access when Shedeur becomes the face of the franchise. This is about protecting their careers and their credibility in a media landscape that's rapidly changing. But you know what? The truth always comes out. And the truth is that Shedeur Sanders has been ready. He's been putting in the work. He's been doing everything the coaching staff has asked him to do. He's been the ultimate professional in a situation where many young quarterbacks would have let the noise get to them. And now, with Dillon Gabriel struggling and the season slipping away, we're about to see why the Browns drafted Shedeur in the first place. We're about to see why Coach Prime was so confident sending his son to Cleveland. We're about to see why all those concerns that Mary Kay and others raised were nothing but hot air and manufactured drama. The Cleveland Browns are thinking about the future now. They're done pretending. They're done playing games. And that future has a name, Shedeur Sanders. So Mary Kay can tweet all the praise she wants now. She can try to act like she's always been a supporter. She can attempt to rewrite the narrative and pretend like she never doubted him. But we know better. The receipts are all there. The videos, the articles, the podcast episodes, they're all documented for anyone who wants to look. And when Shedeur takes that field in Huntington Bank Stadium, when he starts slinging that ball around and showing Cleveland fans what they've been missing, all those media members who doubted him are going to be forced to eat their words. Not just Mary Kay, but all of them. The question is, will Shedeur even acknowledge them when that moment comes? Or will he do what he's been doing all along? Let his play do the talking and ignore the noise. Drop a comment right now and tell me. Should Shedeur ever give these Cleveland media members the time of day after how they treated him? Or should he ice them out completely? I need to know what y'all think. Ice them out completely. I need to know what y'all think. Now, let's talk about what's really happening in Cleveland right now. Because this QB situation is about to get messy. And I mean capital M-E-S-S-Y, messy. Dillon Gabriel is your starting quarterback. On paper, that makes sense, right? He's been in the system longer. He got the first team reps throughout training camp. He's worked with the coaches, built relationships with the receivers, learned the playbook inside and out. The Browns invested time in developing him, so naturally, he gets the first shot. But here's the problem, and this is the part that Cleveland media is trying to dance around. Dillon Gabriel has a short leash. Like ridiculously short, and everyone in that organization knows it. Listen to how 92.3 The Fan talks about it. They're straight up saying that if Dillon doesn't perform, if he's missing guys 8 yards down the field, if things look bad in that first half, the Shedeur Sanders chants are going to start at Huntington Bank Field. They've already heard backup quarterback chants in that stadium before, and they know it's coming again if Dillon struggles. That's an insane amount of pressure to put on your starting quarterback. Imagine going into week 1 knowing that your entire fan base is just waiting for you to mess up so they can see the guy behind you. That's not a recipe for success. That's not a confident quarterback room. That's a powder keg waiting to explode. And here's what makes this even more complicated. The Browns traded Joe Flacco. They got rid of the veteran safety net. They removed the break glass in case of emergency option that so many teams keep around for situations exactly like this. Why would they do that? If they're so confident in Dillon Gabriel, why wouldn't they keep Flacco around as insurance? Why wouldn't they want that veteran presence in the QB room to help develop both young quarterbacks? Because they know Shedeur is ready. That's why. They don't need Joe Flacco because they've got their franchise quarterback already on the roster. They just need to let this Dillon Gabriel experiment play out for a few weeks before they make the switch. And trust me, that switch is coming. The Browns aren't stupid. Jimmy Haslam didn't draft Shedeur Sanders to have him hold a clipboard for multiple seasons. Andrew Berry didn't use valuable draft capital on a quarterback just to let him rot on the bench while Dillon Gabriel struggles through a mediocre season. Think about the timing of everything. They name Shedeur as QB2 right before the season starts. They trade Flacco, creating a clear succession plan. They shut down practice access so the media can't continue their smear campaign. These aren't random decisions. This is a carefully orchestrated plan to transition from Dillon Gabriel to Shedeur Sanders when the time is right. And that time is probably coming sooner than most people think. Let's talk about what 92.3 the fans said about the ceiling on these two quarterbacks, because this is where it gets really interesting. They straight up admitted, on air, that Shedeur Sanders has a higher ceiling than Dillon Gabriel. They said it themselves. The people who have been watching both of these guys practice all summer, who have been evaluating them side by side, openly acknowledge that Shedeur's potential is greater. So if that's the case, if everyone who's actually watching these guys work knows that Shedeur has more upside, why are we starting Dillon Gabriel? Why are we delaying the inevitable? The answer is politics. It's about managing expectations. It's about not rushing a rookie before he's ready, according to some outdated NFL development model that doesn't even make sense anymore. Look at what's happening around the league. Rookie quarterbacks are starting immediately and having success. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. These guys aren't sitting for a year learning the ropes. They're out there making plays from day one. The idea that you need to sit and watch for a full season before you can be effective is outdated, and frankly, it's nonsense. Shedeur Sanders started 33 games at Colorado. He played in front of sold-out crowds. He faced elite competition. He dealt with pressure situations, comeback scenarios, hostile road environments. He's seen it all at the college level. What exactly is he going to learn from watching Dillon Gabriel hand the ball off and throw checkdowns? Nothing. That's what. But the Browns are trying to do this the right way because they don't want to be accused of rushing their franchise quarterback. They don't want the narrative to be that they gave up on Dillon too quickly or that they're making panic moves. So they're going to let Dillon start. They're going to give him a few games. And when, not if, but when, he struggles, they're going to make the move to Shedeur and act like it was always the plan. And you know what? I get it from an organizational standpoint. I understand why they're playing it this way. But let's not pretend like this is about finding the best quarterback to give them the best chance to win. Because if that was really the priority, Shedeur would be starting week 1. Here's another thing that nobody's talking about. The Miami game. 92.3 the fans specifically mentioned it. They said if things are looking bad in that first half against Miami, if Dillon Gabriel is missing throws, the Shedeur Sanders chants are going to start right there in Cleveland. Why would they bring up that specific game? Why is Miami the test? Because Miami is a tough matchup. Miami has a good defense. Miami is going to pressure Dillon Gabriel and force him to make throws under duress. And if Dillon can't handle that pressure, if he's not seeing the field clearly, if he's making the kind of mistakes that young quarterbacks make when things speed up on them, the Browns are going to have no choice but to make a change. And when that change happens, Cleveland media is going to ACT like they saw it coming all along. Mary Kay is going to write articles about how Shedeur's development accelerated faster than anyone expected. Tony Grossi is going to praise the coaching staff for having a clear plan and executing it. 92.3. The fan is going to talk about how this was always the trajectory. But we'll know better. We'll remember how they treated Shedeur before the Browns shut down practice access. We'll remember the doubt, the criticism, the manufactured drama. We'll remember Mary Kay's skepticism before she was forced to acknowledge his elite talent. Because that's what this all comes down to. The truth was always there. Shedeur Sanders was always this talented. He was always this accurate. He always had this kind of upside. The only thing that changed was who was allowed to control the narrative. When the media had access, they lied. They pushed storylines that created drama and generated clicks. They questioned everything about Shedeur because controversy sells and hot takes get engagement. But when the Browns took away that access, when they removed the ability to manipulate the story, the truth finally came out. And that truth is simple. Shedeur Sanders is a problem, in the best way possible. He's got the accuracy. He's got the arm talent. He's got the football IQ. He's got the leadership qualities. He's got everything you want in a franchise quarterback. And Cleveland media knew it all along. They just chose to hide it because the alternative was more profitable for them. But you can only hide the truth for so long. Eventually, the talent shows itself. Eventually, the lies catch up to you. Eventually, you're forced to admit what everyone else already knew. And that's exactly what we're watching happen right now with Kay Cabot and the rest of Cleveland media. They're being forced to tell the truth. They're being forced to acknowledge Shedeur's ability. They're being forced to give credit where credit has been due all along. The only question left is, when Dillon Gabriel struggles, when the chants start, when the Browns make the inevitable switch to Shedeur Sanders, will these same media members give him his flowers? Or will they find new reasons to doubt, new narratives to push, new ways to create drama? My guess? They'll try to find something. They always do. But at this point, nobody's listening anymore. Browns fans see through it. The organization sees through it. And most importantly, Shedeur Sanders sees through it. He's going to come in, he's going to ball out, and he's going to prove everyone wrong who ever doubted him. Not with words, not with tweets, not with podcast appearances, with play, with wins, with the kind of quarterback performance that Cleveland hasn't seen in decades. And when that happens, Kay can tweet all the praise she wants. But it won't change what we all know. She only admitted the truth when she had no other choice. All right, real talk time. How many games does Dillon Gabriel get before Shedeur takes over? Are we talking week 3? Week 5? Or does Dillon somehow hold him off all season? Drop your predictions in the comments because I need to see where y'all heads are at with this. And if you made it this far, you're really locked in. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to be covering every step of Shedeur's journey in Cleveland. The moment he takes that field as the starter, we're going to be here breaking it all down. Cleveland media tried to control the narrative, but the truth always wins. Shedeur Sanders is him, and we're about to watch him prove it to the entire NFL. Until next time, stay locked in, shake the haters off, and remember, the receipts never lie. The receipts never lie.